Welcome back, folks, to Talking to Myself. In this episode, I'm going to be talking about authentic communication and why I believe this can actually resolve most issues, whether it's relationship issues, other problems in life. And I would say the majority of problems in life can be resolved with authentic communication. Now, these are almost two separate things that are merged into one, but are very interlinked, which is why I put it together as almost like a term, a phrase, authentic communication. The way I see it, let's use relationships to begin with. A lot of relationships break down because they say, my partner doesn't love me, my partner cheated on me, or they're not communicating with me, they're disrespecting me, they're doing this, they're doing that. He or she does this, which I dislike. So all of these problems that actually lead to a breakdown of a relationship are actually because it's accumulation, a build-up of problems in the past that have not been addressed straight on through communicating directly and authentically. So let's say your partner doesn't wash up the dishes one day, maybe you let it slide, or you shout at them. You don't acknowledge it head on, you just shout at them and don't acknowledge the deeper issue, and instead you just go, you do the little argument and then you get on with your daily life. Because you've not resolved the issue properly, maybe the deeper issue is not the fact that they didn't wash the dishes, but it's the fact that you didn't feel, loved because of that, because they don't respect you. And because that's not been addressed, your partner may go on to do something else that sort of makes you feel not respected. So it may be the case, maybe they didn't call you after work one day and you get the same thing, the same underlying issue arises. And this is tough because we literally need relationships to obviously get through society, it's how we grow, it's the best way to grow, relationships are the best way to grow, the best way to, enjoyment as well, to love, to share things. But we're not taught how to do relationships, how to have relationships. And communication is one thing that we are not taught. We're often taught to people please in a lot of cultures where I'm from, it's taught, you just say what they want to hear. If someone makes you a cake or a bit of food that you don't really like, because you don't want to be rude, you just say, yes, very nice, thank you. By not saying and acknowledging how you really feel, that person actually goes along thinking that they've made that perfect dish in this case and everyone loves it, so they're just going to keep making it. And obviously it may hurt to tell someone in your family, a close friend, that your dish is not nice, and you can do it in a respectful way. But the way I see it, if we do it authentically, directly, and say it how we really feel, not in a way to put them down, but just in a way to express how you feel. And if feedback is necessary, you can do constructive feedback. For example, if the cake's not nice, say, I didn't like this, it wasn't really my taste, thank you, I'm very grateful. But for me, it was just a little bit dry, so perhaps maybe next time you could include more, milk or eggs, whatever you need to put in a cake to make it less dry. I'm not a baker, so I can't really say too much, but you get the point. You're saying how it really makes you feel. You say you're still grateful for whatever it is, but you say in a constructive way what could be done better, or constructively how you could make it work for the both of you. And communication is another big thing as well, because particularly as men, we constrict, we go inwards, we close off when something is not going the way we like, or something's happened that we're not too proud of. We struggle to open up, and society's made it this way. As men, we struggle to open up. Obviously, feminine energy is more open. They love to talk about things, they love to discuss things, but male is the complete opposite. We close off. Even if we're going through troubles of our own, rather than say, I'm having a bit of a problem today, can we maybe do this another time, or I might be a bit distant for the rest of the day just because, I'm having some problems, whatever. We just shut off completely. And rather than say how we really feel, because, there's this almost a bit of shame, embarrassment as a man, you can't really open up fully because, you've got to be manly and dominant and all this stuff. So we just cut off completely. We just avoid talking about it, or just pretend everything's fine when it's not. Really, you actually feel better, one, for opening up to an extent. I'm not saying go and complain and say all your problems, but just saying even something like, I'm having a few problems today, maybe can we talk another day? Just something as small as that. It's not to say you have to explain the problem in detail for everyone you meet. It's just communicating about what's going on and why you're going to perhaps not be responding this day and whatever. And I've been there myself. Communicating about basic things was virtually impossible for me. I didn't really know how. But in hindsight now, having learnt what I've learnt and experiences, like I said from this beginning of this video, authentic communication is key. And how can we actually learn authentic communication if you've never been taught it or you don't really know what it is? So the first thing I would say is to question. Question why it is you're saying what it is. So in an argument or in a situation where you need to speak to maybe your partner or your friend or whatever it is, question if normally you just agree with someone, or if, like I say, it's an argument. Like I say, the first thing is question. Become aware of what it is you're saying and ask, why am I saying this? What's the intention behind it? What's the thinking behind it? Am I saying it just to please that person? Or am I saying it because it's genuinely what I feel? Now, there's times you don't want to hurt the other person. But this is where you have to remember as well. You may be hurting that person more in the long run if you're saying something that's false or misleading. So initially they might be satisfied. Let's say you went on a date. You didn't particularly like the person, but you said, yes, I like you, we get on well. Misleading information. Your actions and your words are not aligned because, say, you don't plan on seeing them again because you didn't enjoy the day or you just didn't fancy them, whatever it may be. So your words and actions are not congruent. They're not in alignment, and that's not being integral. So you think, oh, they're happy now, but now you either got to see them again and pretend you like them, which is not a good approach, or the other option would be which you're not going to see them again, and you've just given them false information. So like I said, question why you're doing it and what's the intention behind it. And then, like I said, the intention is key. So even when you're saying something that may hurt them, you need to keep the intention as like a constructive thing from a place of, instead of a place of hatred, you need to do it from a place of sort of a loving place. So even if you're giving them bad information or information they may not want to hear, you don't want to do it from a place where you're attacking the person. You're doing it from a place of being genuine from yourself. So at least you're staying true to yourself this way. So question the intention and communicate. When I say communicate, how do we work on this? Like I said, you don't, as a guy, this is difficult. I've been there. You don't have to spill the beans at everything. I cried yesterday because my girlfriend broke up. You don't even have to say that. But it may just be saying things directly. Why didn't you respond yesterday? You've not responded in a week. Rather than just like avoiding it, ghosting, you could just say, sorry, don't feel like talking today. A few things going on. That's it. Like I said, you don't have to go into depth, like I said, but just acknowledge the issues and say, if you're not going to respond to someone or if you're not going to do something, just say, I won't be doing this thing. So you can say it direct and short, but at least let the other person know why you won't be responding, why you're not going, why you're not doing the thing, or why that you haven't spoken in a while. There's a lot of different scenarios as well, and it doesn't mean you have to always explain stuff to every person. If you've spoke to a person once, doesn't mean to say you have to keep messaging them and stuff. You can. There's times where it's okay just to not respond to people. If someone constantly pestering you, you've already communicated to them once that you don't want to continue speaking, they keep pestering you, it's fine to not respond, to let that person go completely. But the thing I find is, if we say these things directly and as it is early on, it won't lead to the extreme cases. So going back to relationships, because this is one of the most important things that humans struggle to actually do in life. It gets to the case where, I don't know, my girlfriend, boyfriend, let's say, cheated on me. It's not the case, the fact that they cheated on you. It's often a build-up of things that are either not addressed early on, or perhaps there was the wrong intentions going into that relationship early on that actually resulted in the cheating happening. So if, for example, early stages of the relationship, there was not a conversation had on what you're both looking for, or how you feel this relationship's progressing, or if there was something that was not so, the one person didn't like, they didn't address that early on, these little things build up, which lead to the massive thing in the end, like a case of cheating, or I don't know, something else that I can't think of right now. So when something drastic like that happens, it's actually, like I said, a build-up of things which can easily be addressed early on. So I'm going to give you the example. If early on in the relationship, you perhaps on a weekly basis, you're having conversations with your partner saying, let's have just like a weekly catch-up to see how we're getting on, see what I'm doing wrong perhaps, see what I could do better. If there's anything that we're not happy about, we can discuss it openly, and from there we can hope to move forward. This would be an awesome approach, even if you're not communicating on a daily basis, maybe once a week, once every 2 weeks, just to say like, I don't like that you did this. Can we try and find a compromise in this? Because then you would actually address the problems head on, which means if there's something you don't like, you can either try and work on it. And if perhaps it's not compatible, you can go your separate ways. And then this means you won't be getting this accumulation of bad things over and over and over again, which will lead to one massive thing that causes you to break up. So can you see? It's the short term, almost putting an effort in short term to get the long term gains. And even if you didn't stay together in that relationship, you've still, one, communicated well, and two, you're not compatible. So you can both move on in a healthy way as well. Because if it gets to the point where the person cheats on you, you're going to dislike them. Maybe you'll react back. You say, I hate this person. I'm going to go cheat on them, which often happens a lot. You see it so often. So it's just constant battling, constant, drama. So to avoid that drama, you can literally address the things head on. Now, I've used the relationships a lot, but this is I think this is the resolution for anything, not just in relationships. I think as well, stuff at work, politics, all the stuff can be achieved, in my opinion, like that. And I'm not going to go into depth into each area of life because that's quite long and it's just basically repeating the same thing. And let's face it, relationships are in every area of life anyway. So, going just as a final summary, authentic communication can be practiced by, one, looking at why you're saying things, looking at the intention behind them, and then try to come for a loving intention, saying what you really feel, but in a productive way, in a loving way, and saying things, addressing them head on, addressing them from the start so they don't build up over and over again. Hope this helps. Goodbye, and good luck with communicating authentically.